So good afternoon students. So in the last class we have discussed about different concepts of viscosity and with these different types of terms related to viscosity. And also I told you what is ideology, and as I told you, it is the resistance to flow of the liquids and also deformation of solids. So in this today we will discuss about non-Newtonian flow and also the effect of temperature on viscosity. So generally, if we will try to see, if we increase the temperature of a particular gas, then its viscosity will increase. If we increase the temperature, the viscosity of the gas will increase. But in case of liquids, when we will increase the temperature, the viscosity will decrease, because due to it will break the bonding between the molecules. So that's why the particles present or the molecules present inside the solution or solvent will try to move, will absorb some energy, external energy, and will try to move and will obtain the kinetic energy. So that is the cause why the viscosity will be less when we increase the temperature. So we have to remember that if we increase the temperature, the viscosity of the liquid will decrease. And with this thing we can know by this equation, that is eta is equal to A exponential of Eg divided by RT. That is your Arrhenius equation actually, and from that we can get how the temperature is affecting the viscosity of a particular liquid. And with this, now let us go for the non-Newtonian flow. So already I told you in the last class, Newtonian flow means those liquids will follow Newton's law of flow. Those liquids will follow the Newton's law of flow. We can tell it is Newtonian liquids. And with this, generally, what is this Newton's law of flow? Generally, the rate shearing stress is directly proportional to rate of shear. That is known as your Newton's law of flow. So simply we can write F is directly proportional to G. Shearing stress is directly proportional to G. So when we will remove the proportionality constant, then we can write F is equal to eta G. And that proportionality constant is nothing but your viscosity. So generally, in case of, if we try to see the graph of a Newtonian flow, then what we will see, the graph will be, generally we will take shearing stress in the x-axis, G in the y-axis. So we will see the graph will start from the origin. The graph will see from the origin, and the increase in viscosity will see as per how much amount of shearing stress we have applied. Similar time the rate of shear also will increase. That is directly proportional. So that's why those liquids will follow this rule. They will called as Newtonian flow or Newtonian liquid. Now coming to non-Newtonian liquids, those liquids will not obey this Newton's law of flow. We can tell non-Newtonian liquids. Then what type of flow it will obtain? The first one, plastic flow. Generally, three types of flows, non-Newtonian flows there: plastic flow, pseudoplastic flow, and dilatant flow. Plastic, pseudoplastic, and dilatant. So in this, let us discuss about plastic flow. What is this plastic flow? So in this plastic flow, generally we will see when we will apply shearing stress. When we will apply the shearing stress, the liquid, the resistance will not similar to Newtonian liquids. The rate of shear will not increase simultaneously as like your shearing stress, but it will look like a Newtonian liquid. But it will not start from the origin. It will not start from the origin. That you have to remember. You can see from the graph, two graphs I have done here. So this is for plastic flow. It is not starting from the origin. It is starting from a far away from the origin, and it depends upon the shearing stress. That means, so let us compare these two. One is your Newtonian liquid, second one plastic flow. If we try to compare these both, here we will see it is starting from the origin. But in this case, the plastic flow, as it is called as Bingham bodies, because it is discovered by the E.C. Bingham scientists who first discovered the plastic flow. And if we take different types of colloidal solutions, coarse dispersals, they will follow this type of plastic flow. With this, let us see the graph, what it will show to us. If we take the graph between the shearing stress and rate of shear, then it is not starting from the origin. It is starting far away from the origin, and the graph actually show like this. At first it will be a curve, then it will be straight linear as like Newtonian flow. Sometimes it is similar to the Newtonian flow, but only deviation, it is not starting from the origin. But finally the curve we have to withhold and we have to extrapolate this line, which will touch at a point of FB, that is known as yield value. That point we need actually FB, and the actual point it touches is known as your lower yield value, and the FH value, if we take a perpendicular line from the point, cross section point, and it will touch it in the x-axis, that point is known as your higher yield value. From all these three, sometimes you can take FL value, sometimes you need FB, sometimes you need FH value. But actually the yield value is important in case of plastic flow. So generally, you will try to see, then the viscosity is also known as plastic viscosity. The slope will get plastic viscosity from this graph. That is your U is equal to F minus FB minus G. So when you will take a suspension, then what you will see, the shearing stress when you have applied, it's not similar to rate of shear. But if you take the difference between F and FB, F and FB means it is your shearing stress minus yield value. It will be directly proportional to the rate of shear, and that point, that viscosity we are taking as plastic viscosity, that is your U. So that is all about your plastic flow. The next class we will discuss about your pseudoplastic flow.